Hey everyone, it's Jen. Welcome back to Bookish Blonde. So I'm fighting, I think, a little bit of a cold, so sorry if I sound a little bit different. But I'm here to tell you my thoughts about my January reading. I started this year off so strong. I had, I believe, all 4 and 5 star reads this month, which is really exciting. So let's just get started. Okay, so I read 9 books this month, a total of 3,235 pages. And overall, it just, like I said, was a really positive, strong reading month. So, let's see. Okay, so I was actually able to get through all 3 of Amber's suggestions for my Read Like a Booktuber video. So I'm not going to go into too much detail here about my thoughts. Just know that I did enjoy all 3, and that video will be coming out. That vlog will come out later in the month, and that will have all my thoughts and my ratings and all of that. But I was able to finish Falling by TJ Newman, The Family Game by Catherine Steadman, and then The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. So again, not going to share my ratings, but I did enjoy all 3. So that's kind of how I started my month, pretty strong. The next one I don't have physically anymore. I finally read a Darcy Coates book. I read Dead of Winter, and I returned it back to my library. I actually gave that one 5 stars, which I was really surprised that I liked it as much as I did, because I didn't realize it was going to have like a horror element to it. And I think had I known that, I might have went in with a different mind frame. So it was kind of nice because I felt like the horror part, was a little bit throughout, but the end especially read kind of like a horror movie. So it was very thrilling, very claustrophobic. The atmosphere was very unsettling. I actually read this during the snowstorm that we had in January, so that was kind of fun. The pacing was good, but not great. Why did I give this 5 stars if it's... I think this is 4 stars. Okay, the next book I read was Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. Yes, I finally read a Darcy Coates. I don't have this physically anymore because I returned it to my library. Gave this a very solid 4 stars. This was a mystery thriller that had a very, one killing off one by one, atmospheric, claustrophobic atmosphere. It did have a little bit of a horror twist to it, which I was not expecting. Had I known that going in, I think it would have changed my reading experience. But especially the last 20% of the book definitely read like a horror film. And so I liked that. I did. It was 4 stars. So very atmospheric, very unnerving and claustrophobic. I did read this during a snowstorm that we had here in Ohio. And I read this in, I think, only 2 sittings. It was a pretty quick read. I felt like the beginning was strong. The middle was maybe a little bit, the pacing was a little bit slow for me. And then the last 25% of the book was fast and heart pounding. So the fact that it started strong and ended strong was a good solid 4 star for me. Yeah, like I said, I wasn't prepared for the horror element, but I was here for it. I liked it. I'm definitely going to be interested in picking up more by Darcy Coates, especially when I'm in the mood for a unsettling, spooky read. I think she will do a good job with that. So that was that one. Okay, next I read... The next one was Julie Clark, The Lies I Tell. Now, I didn't enjoy this as much as her first debut title, Flight Plan or The Flight or something like that. But this still was a solid book. Let me look at my journal and yeah, another 4 star. That's what I thought. Another 4 star read. The Last Flight, that was her debut. So this was a very quick, fun mystery thriller. I wasn't really shocked by the ending, although I did appreciate how it wrapped up. I enjoyed Meg's perspective and her chapters better than, oh gosh, what was her name? Kat. So that's kind of where it lost a star for me. And because I wasn't shocked by the ending, I did feel like I found myself rooting for Meg, even though she was the con artist. The reason why she was conning these men, I approved of. But yeah, so, you know, she was punishing those who deserved it. And I mean, if you like Dexter, I mean, this isn't serial killer vibes, but if you like that show, you might enjoy this book. It kind of made me think of that, of the show Dexter a little bit. It could be because my husband's rewatching it too, so that's in my mind. But yeah, solid 4-star. I definitely would pick up more by Julie Clark. And there was a lot packed into this. It was a shorter book. So another 4-star read. And then on my Kindle, I read What Happened to the McCrays by Tracey Lange. This was a 5-star read for me, for sure. I loved everything about this book. I would give it 10 stars if I could. I felt all the emotions with this book. I literally laughed, I cried, I swooned, all of it. It's told in a present timeline and then a past timeline. And in the present timeline, which is not a spoiler, this couple is divorced, haven't seen each other, I think like 10 years. And then the past timeline is when they started dating up till why they got divorced. So this book broke my heart, but it put it back together. Parts of this were so hard to read and just made me cry. But there was so much heartache and resilience and romance, family drama, small town community, and how the community like bands together was really cool. So much of those things that I love. So that's why it just was not a doubt 5 stars for me. I kind of lost myself in this book. I felt so much for the characters and just felt like everything was so believable and just tragic and beautiful at the same time. She's definitely now a for sure auto-buy author for me because I have loved everything that I've read by her. I think this is my favorite by her out of the 3 I've read. I'm pretty sure. I didn't want to say that right away, but now that it's been, a few weeks since I read it and I still think about it, I still feel like it was such a strong 5-star that, yeah, I think it's my favorite by her. So if you haven't read Tracey Lange, definitely pick this one up. It's coming out soon. And this story was just such a raw and powerful story about forgiving yourself, moving on after such a hard tragedy, and leaning on the ones around you, family, friends, community. And it was such a beautiful story. So loved it. All the stars. Okay. Then I read What the Wind Knows by Amy Harmon. Another 5-star read. This was mostly historical fiction, obviously, but it did have that sci-fi element because she travels in time. I love time travel in books, and this was done very well. We weren't back and forth a ton. We were present, then we were back in time, then we were present, right? So it wasn't jarring. It was just, it worked really well. She did a very good job. I loved Anne and Thomas and Owen. I had to look up how to say it. In this book, it's spelled E-O-I-N, and it's Owen. Owen's her grandfather / the little boy in the book. Again, another book that pulled on the heartstrings. I love the romance. It was so sweet and relatable and realistic between Anne and Thomas. It was so well written. It was well written. It wasn't corny at all. It was great. I would say that her writing in this was a little bit more on the poetic side, if that makes sense, which wasn't a bad thing. It was beautiful writing. Each chapter opened up with like a part of, if not the whole part of, or the whole poem of W.B. Yeats, which was really cool. That was like a unique and nice added touch by the author. I also enjoyed the glimpses of Michael Collins' life that we got. He's the real life historical person in here. So that was really cool. And I learned new information about the Irish Revolution that took place in the early 1920s. I actually finished this one before What Happened to the McCrays. So this was my first 5-star read of 2025. So highly recommend. My second one, Only by Amy Harmon. I like this one better than, oh gosh, what else have I read by her? I can't think of it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this and definitely will be reading more by Amy Harmon. Okay, and then where is it? Okay, I have two more to talk about. So I started The Room on Rue Amelie. I have not finished this book yet because Onyx Storm came in. So we'll talk about this one in a minute. But just know, before Onyx Storm came to my house, I was definitely enjoying this. I'm only about just about 50% through, and it's sitting on a 4-star right now. But I definitely would have 100% finished this in another sitting had Onyx Storm not come. This is the book that I chose for like that teal bluish color for my favorite color for Go With The Flow. So I definitely have to finish this because I have February's Go With The Flow book already on my shelf ready to go. So I'm going to finish this probably today, actually. It is February 1st when I'm filming this, so I'm going to try to finish this and then go from there. So who knows? Most likely a 4, but we shall see. And then last but not least, I read Onyx Storm. 5 stars, 10 out of 5 stars. I love this book. I'm not going to say much because it's spoilery and thoughts are a challenge when it comes to this book. Let's just say this book ended and I have a lot of like little theories going on in my mind. I can't believe we have to wait. I heard 2026 that we have to wait for book 4. So that's a little upsetting. The last page of this book, I surely thought there was another page, but there wasn't. So Rebecca really left me hanging. But so we got more of the world building in here as far as exploring outside of the continent and getting to see different lands around where the main part of this book takes place. That was really neat. We got some new characters in here that I'm definitely down to read more about those characters. The banter and the romance was top notch, just like in books 1 and 2. I feel like this book on Goodreads is actually getting some hate of it being like such a filler book and was this written by AI, like some AI generated comments, and I disagree with all of that. This felt like Rebecca Yarros' writing, definitely not AI writing. I definitely wasn't a filler. A lot happened in here, so I just disagree with that opinion, but each their own opinion, right? I actually listened to this one on audio and physically read it simultaneously, and that was such a cool experience because it forced me not to be able to like skim ahead because I was so into the book needing to know what happened. And this whole reading experience was like a mix between staying up too late, not being able to turn the pages fast enough, and also wanting to savor every page, every chapter, because it's over. And now I have to wait a long time to read more in this series, and that's hard. But I loved it. I actually cried, not even at the end of this book, but cried at one point in this book, which I won't say when or what or why or who. But it was so good. So good. I can't rave enough about it because it won't do it justice. And you have a whole nother year and a half to read all 3 books in the series. If you have not read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame and Onyx Storm, highly recommend the whole series so far for me. I really enjoy it. And I'm sad it's over. But I'm so glad that I read it, and I just loved it so much. I loved it. I love the characters. I love the dragons. I totally nerd out when it comes to this book, and that's fine. I accept it. So there you have it. Thanks again for stopping by. I had a very strong January reading month. I'm hoping February proves to be the same. And like I said, keep a lookout. I'm going to be I'm going to be editing all my clips from my Read Like a Booktuber for those other 3 books. And so my thoughts will be coming to you as soon as I can, and I'll put that vlog out for you guys soon. So I hope everyone's having a great day. Happy reading. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.